Okay, we might get going then. And if more people join us, they can catch up pretty quickly, I think. Welcome, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us. To all our attendees who have taken the time to log in and visit us this evening, and to our wonderful panel. My name is Jane Flanagan, and I am the Student Recruitment Officer at Tangent, Trinity's Ideas Workspace. And this night is about talking a little more in detail about our upcoming postgraduate certificate in creative thinking, innovation, and entrepreneurship. So a little bit about what the course is about, who it's for, how you apply, that kind of thing. We're very lucky to be joined on this evening's call by Sinead O'Riordan, and Sinead works in training and management consulting, and she's also one of the academic facilitators on this course. She's got over 20 years experience in commercially focused roles for various multinational and Irish-based clients. We're also lucky to have Caroline O'Connor, and she's a former student of the course. She's also the creator of Ash, and I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. Caroline, you might correct me later. Her background is in the food industry, but she's now on a new path. She's involved with the Trinity Entrepreneurial Society Incubator with New Frontiers Phase 1. And she's working currently on a number of both paid and voluntary. So she will maybe tell us a little bit about her experience of being a student on this course after the presentation. And we also have Vicky McAvoy, who is the program coordinator at Tangent for this course. So thank you, each and every one of you, for joining us. It really means a lot that you're here. So I'll run through the presentation, and then I will call to Sinead and to Caroline to give us a little bit more information on the course. And then we're going to have a questions and answers from you guys. Anything you want to put in the chat box, or so you can either use the chat box or the Q&A. So at the top, type in your questions in the Q&A or in the chat box, and we'll get to them and direct them to the relevant person towards the end of this call. So without further ado, I guess I'll get going and start with the presentation. So, as I said, it's the Postgraduate Certificate Level 9 in Creative Thinking, Innovation and Entrepreneurship, currently open for application, and it's worth 30 ECTS, 30 credits, and done over 24 weeks. So, why do a course like this? Well, in 2016, the World Economic Forum predicted that 60% of the jobs in 2020 didn't yet exist. And in 2017, Dell predicted that 85% of the jobs in 2030 didn't exist yet. In 2018, the World Economic Forum, or the Future of Jobs report, predicted that by 2022, no less than 54% of all employees will require significant re- and upskilling. So what can we do? So here we have some of the top 10 skills in 2015 versus 2020. So even just looking at the top few, in 2015, we have complex problem solving, coordinating with others, people management, critical thinking, negotiation. And then in 2020, we have complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, people management, coordinating with others. So things are changing all the time, and the rate of change has never been slower than it is now. So moving on, innovation and entrepreneurship. So Trinity is first in Europe for patent citations. We are one of 500, had 500 industry partnerships in the last 5 years, which have generated 1 million in annual research income and 140 licenses in the last 5 years. When we come to entrepreneurship at Trinity, we are ranked first in Europe for graduate entrepreneurship. We have 100 campus companies that have generated 300 products and 1.4 billion in revenue, and 75 student companies in the last 5 years, raising 5 million in investment. When we bring innovation and entrepreneurship together, we can imagine and identify new opportunities. We can collaborate using the power of diversity, and take action with a positive impact on the world. So who is this course for? It's for graduates in employment who are seeking continual professional development, or graduates returning to the workplace after a career break, individuals with a business idea, individuals seeking to change in career direction, seeking to move in a different way, individuals seeking to create their own employment opportunities, and individuals seeking to expand their skills base with a review of returning to the workplace. What does this course offer? Well, it offers a level 9 qualification from Trinity College Dublin, a unique combination of transferable and entrepreneurial skills, team working, presentation and communication skills, and leadership skills, the skills to start up or develop a business, and a range of career development supports within Trinity. The course themes, so there's 3 modules, and they are career pathways, returning to work, opportunity generation and recognition, and planning your venture. How the program works? Well, it runs from the 27th of October this year to the 30th of April next year. Delivered part-time, 3 mornings a week, Mondays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and it runs from 9:30 in the morning to 1:30 p.m. Teaching and learning styles. So we're all about adult learning here at Tangent, experiential learning environment. It's a very experiential learning environment. We have workshops, masterclasses, there's group projects, and there's presentations. Students will work in teams on industry projects hosted by private or public enterprise partners. There are no exams. There's reports, there's presentations, there's case studies, there's continuous assessment, and there's peer-to-peer learning. Some of the learning outcomes: how to develop an entrepreneurial mindset, work in a multidisciplinary team, learn to recognize opportunities, develop a personal communication plan, develop a professional profile online, learn how to plan and fund a venture, understand how to protect your ideas, and add value to an employer with innovative thinking. So you learn by doing. You will tackle a real challenge for a real organization. We'll deal with public, private, startup, multinational, government, and cultural enterprises. You learn to apply design thinking techniques in practice, understand the iterative process and learning from failure and failing forward, teamwork, leadership, compromise, and persuasion skills. Just some of the people that we have worked with, some of our key stakeholders and people that we have interacted with in terms of keynote speakers or workshops and panel discussions, which are some of these amazing companies that you see here. Who is eligible? So for those who have the level 8 qualification, and that should be your typical 4-year bachelor degree, for graduates who are in receipt of an eligible social welfare payment, or who have been out of the workplace for more than 9 of the last 12 months, for those that are self-employed or in employment, and if so, a 10% fee applies. You should be a resident of the EU for at least 3 of the last 5 years prior to application. So for those that don't have the level 8 qualification, there is places for RPLs, recognition of prior learning, and that is assessed on a case-by-case basis. And again, returners, people who have been out of the workplace for whatever reason, and they're now looking to upskill to be a little bit more competitive in the employment market. How do you apply? You have to apply via the Springboard website. So that's the website address there, springboardcourses.ie. All documents need to be uploaded there. The closing dates are the 17th of September for those who have that level 8 degree. If you are applying as somebody who doesn't have that as an RPL candidate, the closing date is the 10th of September. You need the expression of interest, which is approximately 500 words. And in your expression of interest and your CV, you should state how your skills and experience relate to the course. You need a copy of that level 8 for those that have it. Eligibility details, so something to support your employment or unemployment status at the time of application. If you're applying as an RPL, demonstrate your previous experience, whether it be a continuous educational development or professional experience, detail that clearly on your CV, and 2 references. Things to consider: eligibility. So there's a whole host of eligibility criteria on Springboard. It's fairly straightforward, but if you have a particular question, you can come to me or you can go onto the website and have a look there. The schedule, does it work for you? It is 3 mornings a week and 100% attendance is required. It's a significant time commitment. So do you have childcare or other obligations? Actually, apologies, I should have taken that out. Travel times will not be a problem because this course is being delivered fully online. Is your employer supportive? And it is a postgraduate level academic program, so there will be report writing, presentations, and teamwork, group projects, things like that. And that's it. I'm going to just call over now, bear with me a second. I'm going to call on Sinead, if you wouldn't mind, Sinead, to maybe give us a brief overview of the course from your perspective as one of the facilitators on the course, a little bit about how this course is different to other courses that deal in innovation and entrepreneurship, and what somebody might expect to get out of a course like this.
Okay, thank you, Jane. Really what we're trying to do with the course is we're trying to develop an entrepreneurial mindset and build, creative and innovative skills within the course. The kind of modules that we cover as part of the course are the likes of, opportunity generation, looking at the market, sizing a market and seeing what kind of opportunities are there for an entrepreneur should they want to take their products or service to the market. We also look at a cover of design thinking, different areas, and that would be around ideation, prototyping, customer validation, iteration, and then just moving on from that, then we look at the likes of, business modeling, and taking, first of all, isolating and identifying kind of customer needs and customer problems, and be able to match the students' a solution with that problem to make sure that we, there is a product market fit there. We build that within a business model canvas, and we work together through all the different types of the elements that would feed into the business model. We also look at the financial elements. So what are the kind of key financial drivers of a business? And how could you fund a business in Ireland? There's plenty of kind of funding sources out there in the Irish ecosystem for startups and early stage companies. So it's really kind of outlining that to the students too, so people know where to go to get funding. Also, just to be able to understand, what are the key elements that drive your business financially. I find that, a lot of students particularly find the finance module a little bit daunting, but I always kind of, they always come out at the other end very comfortable, very confident in how to read the numbers of a business. And I think that's really important. It's about kind of sense making rather than becoming an accountant. It's not that. It's just being able to understand the financial drivers of your business. Really, I think what's different about this is that it is very much current. It's very much relevant. It's what's happening out in the market. I mean, us contributors, a lot of us are in industry. I work as a management consultant. I also do training. So whatever is relevant, whatever is current, whatever is happening out there in the market, we bring in to the classroom, and we make sure that we keep it fresh. And we work with challenges that are out there now, not 20 years ago now. So it is real life, and it's not just the mentors and the contributors, it's also the kind of projects that we work on. We work on kind of, trying to design creative solutions that will actually tackle challenges within the industry for certain organizations. So that's kind of generally what we cover off. I mean, it is, as you said, Jane, it's about experiential learning, it's about applied learning, but a huge part of that learning is peer-to-peer learning. And I think that's really important, because everybody brings their own knowledge and their experience and their perspective on things, and that's how we all learn. And even myself, when I'm delivering the course, there's always something that I would pick up from a student that kind of feeds in. So I think that's also the really important part of this. It's collaboration, it's working together, and I think it stands for a better outcome.
Definitely. The peer-to-peer learning is so valuable, and it's something that we always hear from past students of the course, because we do try to select our students from a diverse range of backgrounds so that there's rich experience throughout the course. And maybe just on the point of students, we might come to you, Caroline, and you might tell us a little bit about your experience of doing the course and why you chose this particular course.
I think I would joke and say that the course chose me. I came across it on Facebook, and I'd come from a very kind of corporate background. I'd worked in the food industry and was quite senior. And up until May, had worked full time. I have two daughters, they were growing up in creche, and I wanted to stop that. I wanted to kind of start to define how I worked and to be able to be there for them more. And I kind of set out on this journey unintentionally to a certain extent, and it snowballed into where I ended up on the short-term enterprise allowance with intro for a business idea that I'd had. And then all of a sudden, the advert for this course appeared on my Facebook page. So whether it was fate or whether it was analytics, I don't know, but it was there.
A little bit of both.
Came to an open night, and I was talking to a group of friends, and I was having complete imposter syndrome. Who am I to do something like this? Who am I to go to Trinity? I have two kids. How can I put the time into it? And the girls turned around to me and just went, just do it. Just go for it. Put all the effort into it that you can. Do your best and see what happens. And that's what I did. And very much, what Sinead has said about it being about collaboration and about teamwork. And I suppose it's a different type of teamwork than you would be used to in an employment situation, because when you're employed and you're in a team, you kind of have to get on for the sake of you're being employed to do this job, whereas everybody comes to the course with the intention to do it, and the outcome becomes completely different because everybody's intention is actually bring their best for the sake of themselves and for the sake of the team. So it was a really great experience to participate in those teams, and of the 5 teams that I was in during the course, all were completely different sorts of issues, but it was massively enjoyable and challenging, and no 2 days were the same.
Excellent. So I suppose, what advice maybe would you give somebody who's considering applying for the course?
Oh, a number of pieces. Get involved. Definitely don't just look at the course side of things, also look at what Trinity overall can provide for you. So for me, one of my greatest experiences from being involved with Tangent was actually getting to be a part of the Trinity Entrepreneurial Society. And I pitched along with one of my other classmates, and we went, we got places on the incubator. And that was phenomenal to do in addition to, but we were both very definite in that we wanted to go down the entrepreneurial route. And there was a number of other classmates who wanted to go down the entrepreneurial route. And I suppose it's be mindful that it's suitable for both. You know, you don't have to be looking at setting up your business to be able to do this course. Take advantage of anything that is offered to you. So again, another opportunity that we got was to tie in with computer science students and marketing students as part of the Entrepreneurial Society. And I had an outline of an app created by students who were in their second and third year, you know, stuff that I would never have been able to do if I hadn't actually partaken in the course. I think when it comes to the course itself, definitely network, get to know everybody. Everybody has come from a different background. Everybody has their own situation going on. So be kind and definitely be open-minded. I'm looking here, I jotted down some notes earlier. And I think, yeah, if a lecturer says to you to connect on LinkedIn, follow through, do it. And definitely, you know, start reading a bit more, start listening a bit more, and be open to learning, because everybody will say the cliche of you get out of it what you put into it, but it is 100% true when it comes to this course.
Yeah, that's so true. And that's something I've heard from other past students as well. On the topic of how much time, so we know that the classes are on 3 mornings a week. Vicky, how much time would you recommend a student would put in outside of class hours, I suppose?
It depends really. It depends on what's happening that particular week. We have 3 days a week, which are Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, and students will be in class between 9:30 and 1:30 each of those days. There'll be breaks as well in between. Every session, you're going to have a piece of pre-coursework, and that'll be made available 7 days beforehand. And it might be a YouTube video, it might be a journal article for you to read, and that you'll be doing in class. So, and it depends. The closer to your assessments, you are going to be putting huge amounts of work in, huge amounts of time. So we would look at maybe 8 to 10 hours of additional work most weeks, and some weeks it'll be more, and some weeks it will be less.
Okay.
Quite a substantial time commitment.
Time commitment. Okay, good to know that. I'm just going to see a couple of questions pop in here, and we'll look at these and see if we can answer some of them. So going to the Q&A, some of them have been answered. Have they?
Sorry, I jumped in. I started answering.
Jumped in. You're too efficient. You're way ahead of me. Would completing this course help if I wanted to one day teach in 3rd level? What do you think, Vicky?
It would definitely, and I've done a very similar course at another institution. Generally, you would have to teach a 3rd level, you have to have a minimum of a master's degree in the topic that you're actually going to be teaching. And then if you have that minimum, and then you have additional qualifications, for example, if you have this qualification or a coaching qualification, it opens up more subject areas. So if you didn't currently have a master's, you wouldn't be able to specifically teach just with this qualification. It's a postgraduate qualification, but it is a PG cert, and you would need to have a minimum of a master's. But in saying that, if you have this, you could link in with other courses and see if they would take this particular course and let you upgrade them to a master's by doing additional work.
Great stuff. Thanks so much for that. And going over to the chat box, I'm currently unemployed and I have plenty of time to do the course. I wanted to ask, if I commence employment and cannot attend the classes online, can I view a recording of them afterwards, or will there be another way to catch up? So we really need you to be there all the time in terms of, yes, the classes are recorded. To answer the first part of that question, the classes are recorded and they are online for watching back afterwards. However, given the amount of teamwork and project work that goes on, it's important that you are there, you know, playing your part with your team. Also, it's a requirement that you have to have been in attendance for at least 80% of the course, although we always encourage 100% attendance. So, I mean, Caroline, I might ask you again then. I mean, it's not really the kind of course that you can take a lot of time off, because it's, as Vicky just said, it's quite active. There's a lot going on.
It definitely, it's very active and it's very interactive. And I suppose what you end up doing is it's not just a pure taught course. You're actually encouraged to bring in your own thoughts and your own mindset and to participate. So and there's a lot of group work that happens throughout each session. So it's not a case of just being from my opinion and my experience of it, it's not a case that I would think that it's something you can just jump in afterwards and watch the recording of it and then try to interact with the group. It's very hands-on.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Sorry, Jane. Like
No.
it is about experiential learning and applying the learning in the setting. So I think, you know, that's why we do look for that attendance level, because that's where, you know, that's where the real learning happens. You know, once I suppose the kind of theoretical side is rolled out, then what you do is you take it, you apply it, and then that's really where you start to see it coming to life.
Thank you. Thanks, Sinead. And there's another question here. How much does this course differ from the postgraduate in innovation and entrepreneurship? Vicky, do you want to answer that, or I can answer it either?
Yeah, no, I can answer. So the modules this year, we changed them. So the modules are identical in both programs, but the way we're actually changing, we're differentiating between each course. So the company projects, for example, will be different. And this course, it gives you more structure than maybe our regional courses. You have more contact time. So you have more time with the facilitators, you have more time with your coordinator. So an example would be in the morning, so the evening class will just have the 2 hours and you go off and you do your work. So an example would be you'll come for a morning check-in with me. Then you will review the pre-course material that you'll already have read, and you'll discuss that in class for the first half an hour. Then you will have 2.5 hours with your facilitator, with an active break-ins in that, where your facilitator will be available to answer your questions. Then you'll have some independent work to do as an individual or as a group, and then you'll come back and you'll have a check-in with me and we'll go through your activity. You're not going to have that with the evening class. You'll just have your 2 hours. So we try to have a bit more of routine and a bit more of a structure, but we try to fit in as much as we can in class, because we know that you have lives. We know that there are a lot of parents who are taking this course. We know that maybe you'll have to go and have pick up children from crash or from school. So we try to get an awful lot of that work done while you are actually in session.
Thanks a million, Vicky. Will students miss out on the benefits of face-to-face group work when delivered online? And is there any possibility of in-person classes as restrictions are lifted? So this course has been designed to be fully delivered online, and this is the second time that we'll be doing that. I might pass the first part of that question over to Sinead, who as a facilitator might be better placed to answer it than me. How do you feel about that, Sinead? Will students miss out on the benefits of face-to-face group work?
So I actually was part of the last group that was carried out online, and obviously I've done the face-to-face as well. So I think what we've tried to do very much is to kind of use the technology to support that whole collaboration piece. And, you know, the collaboration tools are there, so we're harnessing it as much as possible. You know, I suppose some people do like the kind of interaction of face-to-face, but I mean, in the main, we're doing that in a kind of a collaborative environment, even though it is online. So you know, like, I think the important piece is that people are coming together, they're working together as a team, and they're applying the learning, and that you know, that still stands even in the online environment.
Great, thank you. Thanks so much. We'd love to get people in to see our space. We're very proud of our space, but you know, at the moment the courses will be delivered fully online, and that's not likely to change. unless this situation massively changes, which doesn't look likely. Are there any more questions from anybody? And Catherine loves your cat, Vicky, as we all do.
One of many, and that's actually one benefit that you're going to get on this course. I have 4, and Millie, one of my lovely little cats, joins me every single day. So if you're a cat person, you will definitely get your fill of cats every day with me.
Taking the course with you. Excellent. So I'll leave it open there. If anybody has any more questions, they can pop them through on the Q&A or the chat. Thanks, Karen. No problem, Shane, you're very welcome. So again, the closing dates are the 10th of September for RPL applicants and the 17th of September for those who have the level 8 degree. So Louise, if you don't have a degree, what is the criteria? So it's exactly the same. So you just don't have to upload that level 8 certificate. So you upload 5 documents, but you should make it clear on your statement of interest and your CV that you're applying as an RPL candidate, and show your, in lieu of that level 8, your continuous development professionally, or if you've done any certs, you can mention them. But as I say, you can still apply, and we will assess those applicants on a case-by-case basis. But there are always some RPLs on each class, on each course that we run. Okay. Yes. Can you give us an example of companies collaborating with Trinity on this course and some projects that we could be working on? Sinead, would you know, or Vicky, might you know?
We are working on it. We haven't any confirmed just yet. We've made contact with several. So students wouldn't get that for about 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks into the course, and then they'll meet their company. They'll know who their company is in advance. So we haven't got information on that. Previously, I have worked with Pets on Jets with Airfield Estate. I know there have been so many different projects with CTIE. So Caroline, maybe you would be able to let us know from last year. Because I wasn't coordinating this last year, so I wasn't involved with this. So can you think of any companies that your cohort worked with last year?
Yeah, for our group, for my own group, we had Clark Recruitment, which was great. They're a fantastic recruitment company that are based in Naas, so it was really close to me. And we also in that session had the GAA. We had Madigan Cashmere. There was another company who had just launched a cosmetics line. The name escapes me right now. And then at each stage, there's been different companies that we've worked on, whether it's been a live face-to-face where you're dealing with that company directly, or whether it's a fictional case study that you're given to work on. One of the funniest, I think, was actually the financial one with Sinead, where I ended up getting the Musgraves set of accounts to deal with, and I actually used to work for Musgraves, so we thought it was a fix. And but it was a great one for us to try and kind of dig through, and I suppose I had to consciously leave all my bias aside and really kind of start questioning everything again as to why they were doing certain things and why financials were coming out the way, and not using the knowledge that I had to explain it all.
You did a fantastic job too, Caroline, and my dad.
Excellent. Thanks, Caroline. That's brilliant. Okay, just to catch up on some questions that are coming in both the chat and the Q&A. Do you get a break in December? Yes, there is definitely a break in December, and there's another break at Easter. Vicky, I don't know if it's 1 week or 2. I would imagine it's 1.
It's one, I have to double check the schedule, but everyone will have the schedule before they start,
Yeah.
the orientation that we sent out to them. So I haven't got it to hand, but generally it's a 22-week course, and there are 2 one-week breaks, so one over and then one in spring.
Yes, that's the way it has been for previous courses. And then, so we don't have those dates just yet, but they will be available closer to the time of the closing dates. So also, you know, if you do have any kind of individual queries regarding, you know, your eligibility, or, you know, I don't have this file, but I do have that one, just contact me directly. You can send those to springboard@tcd.ie, or give me a ring on the mobile. So let's see, I'm just going to go down further. For the 2 references, can you give 2 names? No, they need to be written references. They should recommend you ideally for the course. So you want your application to be the best it can be. This course is competitive. It's oversubscribed each year that we run it. So for your application to be, you know, the best it can be, 2 written references from people that can recommend you for the course. And yes, I'll just go over here to how is, I think we answered that one. How is it different to the innovation and enterprise development? So it's more hands-on. There's more time, as Vicky said, with the students. Also, the regional one, the innovation enterprise development, is looking at the professional who has industry experience and is looking to pivot or do, you know, maybe get a promotion or set up their own business. Whereas this one has more of a focus towards those people that have been out of work for some time. They're looking to upskill to get back into the workplace. And can you explain the interview process? So there's only interviews held with RPL candidates, and that is just part of the application process. And people with level 8s, they don't need to interview. The interview is very informal. It's with me, and it's a phone interview. It takes about 20 minutes. Which days of the week is the course on? So Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, from 9:30 until 1:30 p.m. Joseph is saying, as a past student and a joint class rep in the 2019 course, I completely concur with Caroline, my fellow classmates' observations, and thoroughly recommend this course, but you need to be 100% committed and open to collaborating with fellow classmates. Julie Edge was the new cosmetic company which I worked on, and Guinness. Excellent. Thanks so much for that, Joseph. Really great to have your feedback as a past student. Thank you. It's brilliant. I'm just going to look at the answered questions, and for everybody's benefit, for all participants' benefit. Did the course used to take place in the evenings? I was looking at it on recommendation from a friend who said it was taking place 2 evenings a week. So we have 3 courses that are running at the moment, and 2 of those take place in the evenings from 6 to 8. But this one, the returners one, it's called, or the creative thinking, innovation, entrepreneurship, takes place 3 mornings a week. So they're all, the first closing date is over for the creative and cultural entrepreneurship. We have an upcoming closing date for innovation and enterprise development, and then this info session is about the last one, which is creative thinking, innovation and entrepreneurship, with the closing date of the 10th and the 17th of September. Students would be eligible for student cards. Absolutely, yes, you will get a student card. You can get that 10% discount at the cinema. That's what I used mine for, at least. And yeah, you'll get those. So you'll get the very same as any Trinity student, which obviously, unfortunately, at the moment is not full access to the campus, but there will be lots of different benefits from being registered as an official Trinity student here. I think that's us caught up on the questions, but if there are any more at all, feel free to add them in. or if I've missed anything, flag it to me.
Jane, do you mind if I just jump in with another point?
Yes, I'd love to.
There's a couple of kind of questions and comments coming up about how it's going to work being run online. And I suppose we were lucky that we were the last cohort that actually did this course face to face. But what you miss out when you're doing something like this on a webinar that you don't get when you're participating in the class is the amount of energy that is actually going between the people who are participating, but also the lecturers and the likes of Sinead and Connor and all the other amazing facilitators that come in and actually present. And I think that's something that I'm convinced won't be lost by this being run purely online.
Thanks, Caroline. And yeah, it's a great point. And also with the course being online, you have every class is recorded. So even if, you miss the first 10 minutes or you just want to kind of catch up a little bit on the learnings that were part of that, they're all available to watch back at your leisure, which is something that wasn't an option when the classes were in person. So there's definite benefits to it going online. I see a question in. I have a degree from an Australian university. So that's absolutely fine. So there's a website called NARIC, and that's NARIC, NARIC Ireland. And what you do is you just pop in your details. It takes a second and it tells you what the equivalent is in terms of the Irish qualification. So you pop in your Australian details and it pops up saying level 8 or level 9 or level 7. And that's the search you upload to Springboard for me, for the application. If you have an idea or project of your own, is there an opportunity to develop this during the course? I see Caroline nodding there, so feel free to jump in, or Vicky either.
Yeah, it's great for that. Even if it's just really at early idea stage. I suppose I came into it having written a business plan and having a fair idea of what I wanted to do. But what I would say is, be open-minded and don't take criticism personally. It's not intended to be personal. There's going to be times where you have ideas and your baby's going to be ugly, and you just have to apply the process of the design thinking and the creative process to actually try and figure it out that it's right for the consumer and for the person who has the problem that your idea is going to solve.
Yeah, and just to build on that, what Caroline said, that's exactly right. And sometimes what we find is people come in with an idea and then they start to challenge their assumptions about that, and then they may actually pivot. So they may completely change, or they may just even have slight tweaks to the idea that that they came in with originally. So the whole kind of thinking behind it is, can you look at this from a different angle, and go through that whole process. And quite often what you have is you have probably a more enhanced solution at the end of it. So it's actually really relevant for somebody in that situation.
And just to say that I know we're very focused on business, and it's a really important part of what you're looking at, but there's a lot of fun in it. Think of it as being a learning journey, because on the one side you're learning all these really, really valuable skills, invaluable skills even, but then you are growing personally as well. So even if you go in and think, okay, it's great to have these skills, but I don't want to be an entrepreneur, that's fine. You will have these skills to take away with you. And if you think about module 1, you're learning about creativity and innovation and design thinking, and you're learning those skills and you're building on them. Module 2, then you're looking at recognizing opportunities, and that's where, if you already have an idea, you explore it. If you haven't got an idea, you start developing one and creating one. And module 3 then is when you try to put that into action. You try to explore that idea and you look at the mechanics of it. Is it actually going to work? And then the idea would be that you have a business plan. You have a much more fully formed business idea when you're leaving. And even if you don't do anything with that business idea, you have those skills, you have that knowledge, and you have grown personally as well. So you're in a better position then to leverage everything you've done to decide what you want from your career, whether it's working for someone else or whether it is starting your own business.
I suppose I just add another kind of point into that, specifically for that person who's asking about coming in with their own idea. Doing a course like this when you have an idea is amazing, because not just with the course itself and everything it teaches you, but with all the additional supports that you can tap into with the Entrepreneurial Society, and with, you know, I was really lucky to get a fantastic mentor on Women Who Wow, and there's so many different ways to help build on it. So my idea came in, and looking back at it now, it was ugly, and you know, it changed and it adapted, and things came across my path that I had never thought would be possible or available for it. And it keeps changing and it keeps iterating. And that's the best learning for me out of the course, is that, you know, I'd never written a pitch deck. I'd never stood up and presented my idea. I'd never done a lean canvas really about it. And I've done all these things so many times that it's become much easier to kind of go, okay, I need to adapt it. I haven't quite got the solution. I haven't quite got the problem identified right. How do I change it? And then with the network of people that you have from the course that you do, you will identify people who you'll be able to reach out to and go, hang on, will you have a look at this for me before I submit an application for New Frontiers, or for, you know, Launchbox, or for Dragon's Den? And there's a great network there. And for me, I had two amazing people who were my right hands when it came to this. And they listened to me pitch so many times, and they looked over my decks and gave me great supports to be able to go on. That when I left the course, I actually went and did New Frontiers Phase 1, and again, adapted, iterated, changed it, and it continues to keep going like that.
Yeah, and it's I suppose, you know, to build on that, Caroline, it's about you know, going into a safe space and, you know, fail fast and move on and learn, and, you know, iteration is good, and it's important, particularly in a creative environment. It has to be, you know, it's okay to not necessarily get it right the first time or the second time, but eventually what you do is you come out at the end with a, you know, a more, you know, a better solution. And the other thing I want to mention actually is just in relation to people who aren't setting up their own business, these skills are really important within organizations today. So even if you're returning to work, you're going into another company as an employee, as opposed to, you know, starting a business or growing or scaling up a business. These skills are so crucial in businesses today. Creativity, innovation, you know, it's definitely currency to bring to a new employer. So I think anybody returning to work, you know, we do see a number of people who aren't necessarily setting up their own business as part of the course, and they get a significant amount of value from it also.
Thanks, Sinead. I'm going to go to our latest question there. What is the exact process for applying? So the exact process is that the documents that are required need to be uploaded on Springboard. You go to springboardcourses.ie. There is a statement of interest or an expression of interest. That's about 500 words. Then you have to upload your CV. You have to upload 2 references, and they should be written references recommending you for the course. And then you have to upload a copy of your transcript or something to prove that you have that level 8 bachelor's degree, unless you're applying as an RPL candidate. The final document that's required is to support your eligibility for Springboard funding. So it should be something to prove your employment status, or if you're unemployed, something to support that. Like a copy of a job seeker's receipt, or if you've been out of work for more than 9 out of 12 months, there's a declaration form on Springboard that you can download and have that signed by yourself and a commissioner of oaths. So there's 6 documents for level 8 candidates, and there's 5 documents required for RPL candidates. Again, come to me with any questions you have on springboard@tcd.ie, and I can clarify it further. It's all up there on the Springboard website anyhow. They do all need to be uploaded by the closing date. So if you're missing any of those documents that I just detailed, it's important that you round them up by the closing date. The only way that a closing date will be extended is if the course isn't oversubscribed by then. So it may be extended, but you're taking a risk. So try to gather them together, and you can be uploading them as you go. You can upload a document tomorrow and upload your CV next week and upload, so you don't need to wait until you have everything. You can be applying now and uploading those documents as you have them. If it's not possible to get a copy of your degree, then maybe contact the university that you did your degree in. They should be able to send you a letter or an email from them stating that you are a past student that has completed it, and that would do as well. So something to support that you have that. So we'll give it another few minutes and see if we have any final questions before we finish up this evening's information session. And thanks again, everybody, for coming and joining us. It's great to have you here and to get word out about these courses, because a lot of people don't know, and it's an amazing opportunity. And to have this, I talk to some of my friends and they're always surprised when I say it's free. Even if you're employed and it's 10%, it's still a €400 for this particular course, which isn't a lot considering what you get out of the course. So it's either €400 or it's free. So really great opportunity. So we have another one here. I may have submitted an application without uploading all the documents. Is it still okay to upload on Springboard? Absolutely. So all you do there is before the closing date, you log back into your Springboard account and you go to applications, and the name of the course will pop up, and there's 3 small icons to the right hand side. One of those icons is an up arrow in a circle, and that's where you upload the documents. So you just click on that and all the sections appear, and you can start uploading to the different sections. It will only allow you to upload one document per section. So if you have multiple documents and you want to upload them to one section, put them in a zip file. That's just a bit of advice there, because that can trip some people up. No problem, you're very welcome, Karen. Would you advise, if you don't get accepted at the course, to reapply next year? Yes, I mean, that's not to say you're going to get a place. There's never any guarantees, but I suppose the advice there is if you're not in, you can't win. So if you can continue to apply and put in the best application that you can, outlining why you'd be a suitable candidate for the course, why the course is right for you at this time, then you're in with the chance of getting a place. But as I say, there are no guarantees. There are 42 places on this class, so 42 students. You're very welcome. So again, we'll give it another 2 or 3 minutes, and if you have any questions, pop them in the chat box or the Q&A. That's good advice there from Joseph. He applied 3 times before being accepted. And it has happened in my time here where I've seen people apply who had previously applied and been unsuccessful, but they were successful on the 2nd or 3rd attempt. As I say, no guarantees, but definitely you should apply if you're interested in doing it, because you're not, you know, you're in with a chance. Your application will absolutely be assessed if you've got your documents in time. What would happen if a participant gets a job during the course? Vicky, do you want to answer that?
Well, there's, once you, like, so if you're unemployed, for example, and you get a job after you've registered and after you've been accepted, there's no reason why you can't continue, because it's the conditions are when you actually apply and register. The only problem would be if you got a full-time job, it would be very, very difficult for you to do that and to be able to attend unless your employer gave you time off for it. So it is possible. So a lot of people, they might get part-time jobs, but if they do, it is difficult. It is difficult to work full-time or part-time and do this course, but it's not going to affect your status, your fee status, if you get a job after you've registered.
Thanks, Vicky. Yeah, because this particular course is on during the day, it can be a lot of time to ask. But if you're halfway through it, I mean, it's worth having that conversation with your employer and seeing if they are supportive. Again, it's one of the things to consider maybe when you're applying. Would your employer be supportive? How will the projects work? How many will work together on a project? So again, maybe Sinead, you might answer that one, or Vicky?
Yeah, so it depends on the module you're doing, but we'll say take creative capital, for example, which is the finance module. So each of the groups will be broken up into about kind of 6 or 7 people. You will be assigned an organization to, you know, to look at, to tease out the financials, to understand kind of the financial health and of that business and the drivers, financial drivers, and what's going on in the industry. So yeah, so I suppose kind of about 7, but again, it does depend on the module.
Thank you, Sinead. Also, this evening session is being recorded, so if anybody knows of anyone that hasn't been able to join us this evening, wants to watch it back, it's available on YouTube and on our Facebook page. Okay, going to give it 1 more minute and then we'll finish up the call. So if there's any last minute questions, now is the time, or forever hold your peace. Remember, I'm contactable on springboard@tcd.ie if you have any further questions around the recruitment process.
Jane, I'll just jump in. I know that when we started out, one of the questions we kept getting asked was, what are the benefits of being a student? And there's a couple of ones that are fairly unknown but are quite good, and if you do have to pay the 10%, it kind of recoups itself. Some of the things that we were able to get access to, and I suppose besides the gym and the canteen and all this sort of stuff, which is I think closed at the moment, there is a student subscription to the Irish Times. So you get that free for a year. There is your student card and all your student discounts. But through Trinity, there's also access to a number of software and different platforms. So for example, Microsoft Office and also LinkedIn Learning. So I know a lot of our class really kind of took advantage of that and found it really helpful, not just for themselves personally, but also to actually help to complete the course.
Excellent. It's really, yeah, really great to hear from you, as Debbie has pointed out, Caroline, and thank you to everybody who's joined in the panel this evening. But that's really invaluable, to have that information as somebody who's gone through the course. So thank you. And thank you to all our interested participants this evening and all of your great questions. Feel free to finish the call. If you don't have any more questions, we'll wait on another minute or so and then end the call. And you're all very welcome to all the thank yous I'm seeing in the chat box. Speaking on behalf of everyone. Okay, guys, I think we'll finish up there. Thank you again, Sinead, Caroline, Vicky, and to all our attendees. And we might see each other in the world of tangent again at some stage soon. Good evening, and thank you so much.
Thanks everyone, bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.